So, welcome everyone. We are going to start our session today. Uh, we have started this chapter, price determination and simple application, and we are going to learn that how the price and equilibrium quantity changes when there is increase in demand and decrease in supply. Fine. So, there are various cases, different cases. We are going to learn about those cases, and let us see the first case. The first case is that your demand increases and your supply decreases proportionately. Fine. So let us see how it looks like. This is our x-axis, this is our y-axis, and this is origin. On x-axis, we are going to show the quantity. On y-axis, we are going to show the price. Fine. And this is our original demand curve, DD. This is our original supply curve, SS. And see, demand and supply is going to intersect at point E. This is our equilibrium point where OP is equilibrium price. OP is equilibrium price and OQ is your equilibrium quantity. It is equilibrium quantity. Now we are going to see that what is going to be the effect of increase in demand and a proportionate decrease in supply. Then how the equilibrium quantity and price will be affected. Increase in demand. See, increase in demand हम कैसे show करते हैं बेटा? We are going to show the increase in demand by rightward shift. Now you see that the increase in demand is this. Fine. When the demand increases, your demand curve is going to shift rightward, that is towards D1, D1. Fine. And it says decrease in supply. So there is a proportionate decrease in supply. Proportionate का मतलब होता है बेटा कि जितनी डिमांड में इंक्रीज हुआ है, आपकी जो सप्लाई है वो उतनी ही डिक्रीज होगी. जितना डिमांड में इंक्रीज हुआ है, आपकी जो सप्लाई है वो उतनी ही डिक्रीज होगी. And see how it is going to look like. It's like this. Your supply जब decrease होगी, it is going to shift leftward. Fine. Now see what is the impact. The impact is that your equilibrium is going to, new equilibrium will be E1, where price is increased from OP to OP1. Price is increased from OP to OP1, and your equilibrium quantity that remained the same. Equilibrium quantity remained the same. So the resultant, or you can say the result of proportionate increase in demand and proportionate decrease in demand is that your equilibrium price, new equilibrium is at point E1, fine, and your equilibrium price has increased and it is now OP1, and equilibrium quantity, it remained same at point OQ. I hope that this point is clear to everyone. Now let's move to the second case. And this second case is that there is increase in demand, and this increase in demand is greater than the decrease in supply. Now let us see how it is going to work. Let's prepare this diagram again. See, this is our x-axis, this is our y-axis, and this is origin. On y-axis, we are going to show the prices. On x-axis, we are going to show the quantity. This is our original demand, D, D. This is our original supply, S, S. And where demand and supply are going to intersect each other, that is our point of equilibrium, E, where OP is equilibrium price and OQ is equilibrium quantity, just like we did in the last case. अब यहाँ पे क्या है बेटा, सेकेंड केस में देर इज इंक्रीज इन डिमांड, और इंक्रीज इन डिमांड जो है that is greater than decrease in supply. Now when demand increased, demand curve is going to shift rightward, fine, and it is shifted to D1, D1. So this is shown as increase in demand, fine. Now there is decrease in supply, but decrease in supply is less than, it is proportionately less than the increase in demand. So how it is going to look like? It is like your decrease in supply proportionately is less than your increase in demand. So your supply curve is going to shift leftward, fine. So this is decrease in supply. Now see, the new equilibrium where new demand curve and new supply curve is going to intersect is at point E1. And now what is happening at this point, that our new equilibrium price is P1, OP1. That means if we compare it with the previous price, it is increased. And your new equilibrium quantity, it has also increased to OQ1. But you see that the increase in price is greater than the increase in quantity. The resultant is that increase in price is greater than the increase in quantity. So this is the case that if the increase in demand is greater than decrease in supply, so both price and quantity will increase. दोनों बढ़ेंगी, प्राइस भी बढ़ेगी और क्वांटिटी भी बढ़ेगी, लेकिन प्राइस ज्यादा बढ़ेगी as compared to increase in quantity. I hope that this case is also clear to everyone. Now let's discuss the third case. थर्ड केस में इंक्रीज इन डिमांड इज लेस देन डिक्रीज इन सप्लाई. अब हम देखते हैं इसका ग्राफ कैसे बनेगा और क्या रिजल्टेंट इफेक्ट आएगा ऑन इक्विलिब्रियम प्राइस एंड इक्विलिब्रियम क्वांटिटी. सो ऑन वाई एक्सिस अगेन वी आर गोइंग टू शो द प्राइस ऑफ द गुड्स and on x axis quantity. The demand curve and the supply curve is going to intersect at point E, which is point of equilibrium. And at this point, OP is the equilibrium price and OQ is the equilibrium quantity. Now the situation is that demand is increasing. Now demand is increasing, but the increase in demand is less. चलो हम पहले less बनाते हैं. डिमांड इंक्रीज होगी, शिफ्ट होगी राइटवर्ड टू D1, D1, fine, and decrease in supply, it is greater than it is proportionately greater than increase in demand. अब अगर बेटा सप्लाई डिक्रीज होती है, फाइन, अगर सप्लाई डिक्रीज होती है, so what we are going to do is supply curve is going to shift leftward and it is more. Fine. So supply curve is going to shift leftward to S1, S1. अब आप देखो सप्लाई जो डिक्रीज हुई है वो ज्यादा है देन द इंक्रीज इन डिमांड, एंड योर न्यू demand curve and supply curve is going to intersect at point E1. This is your new point of equilibrium. और यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? That price is increasing. OP1 is the price and quantity demanded supplied is decreasing to OQ1. Now see that the increase in price here, the increase in price, equilibrium price, fine, is greater than decrease in demand. It is greater than decrease in quantity demanded and supplied. Fine. So this is the result, that in case there is the increase in demand is less than the decrease in supply, so at new equilibrium point your price is going to increase, and increase in price is greater than the decrease in demand, the decrease in quantity demanded and supplied. Now children, let's discuss some special cases. और इन केसेस में हम स्टडी करेंगे कि अगर डिमांड चेंज होती है, जब सप्लाई कर्व परफेक्टली इलास्टिक होता है, तो क्या इफेक्ट होता है इक्विलिब्रियम प्राइस या इक्विलिब्रियम क्वांटिटी पे. सो लेट्स बिगिन विथ आवर फर्स्ट केस. अगेन, this is my x-axis, this is my y-axis, and O is origin. On y-axis, we are going to show the price, and on x-axis, we are going to show the quantity. Fine. Now, when the supply is perfectly elastic का मतलब क्या होता है बेटा? That the supply curve is parallel to your x-axis. अब perfectly elastic का मतलब क्या है कि supply curve perfectly elastic है कि supply increase होती जाएगी even if there is no or negligible increase or decrease, that means a change in price. यानी कि प्राइस में थोड़ा सा भी चेंज होगा तो सप्लाई में ड्रास्टिकली चेंज आएगा. फाइन. और ऐसे सिचुएशन में द सप्लाई कर्व इज पैरेलल टू योर एक्स एक्सिस एंड दिस इज माय ओरिजिनल डिमांड कर्व. Fine. So price is going to remain fixed at price OP, equilibrium price, and OQ is the equilibrium quantity, and E is the point of equilibrium. Now let's study that if the demand increases, fine, if the demand increases, then what will happen? Demand increases, demand curve is going to shift rightward to D1, D1. So this is your increase in demand. Fine. This is increase in demand. In case the demand increases, demand curve will shift rightward to D1, D1. Now what will happen? See, since your supply is perfectly elastic, fine, it is perfectly elastic, so it is always going to be parallel to x-axis, then your equilibrium price remains the same and equilibrium quantity will increase to OQ1. In case your demand decrease, fine, in case your demand decreases, now in case the demand decreases, demand curve is going to shift to D2, D2. Fine, it is going to shift leftward to D2, D2, and the equilibrium price, that will remain same, but your equilibrium quantity is going to reduce to OQ2. So in case the supply is perfectly elastic, it is perfectly elastic, fine, and your demand, this is the conclusion, your demand increases. When your demand increases, demand curve will shift rightward and your equilibrium price will remain the same and equilibrium quantity will increase to OQ1 from OQ. And in case the demand decreases to D2, then in that case also the equilibrium price will remain the same and equilibrium quantity is going to decrease to OQ2. And in both the cases, your equilibrium point will also get shifted from E. When your demand increases, your equilibrium will shift to point E1. And when your demand decreases, your equilibrium point will shift to point E2. I hope that this case is clear to everyone. Now let's discuss the second case. And in this second case, now we are going to learn that your demand is going to be perfectly elastic. And we are going to study the effect of change in supply on your equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. So on x-axis, we are going to show the quantity, y-axis, we are going to show the price, and O is the point of origin. Since demand is perfectly elastic, so again, demand curve is parallel to your x-axis. देखो बेटा, perfectly elastic का मतलब यही होता है कि drastic change. Elasticity means responsiveness. तो प्राइस में नेग्लिजिबल चेंज होगा या चेंज नहीं भी होगा, बट डिमांड इज गोइंग टू change exponentially. Fine. Now supply, we know that original supply curve is denoted by SS and E is the point of equilibrium. So at point E, OP is the equilibrium price and OQ is the equilibrium quantity. Now let's study if there is increase in supply. Fine. Increase in supply is denoted by S1, S1. Fine. And supply curve is going to shift rightward. Increase in supply is denoted by S1, S1. It is going to shift rightward and new equilibrium point will be E1, where equilibrium price remains same at OP and equilibrium quantity is going to shift, or you can say it is going to increase from OQ to OQ1. Fine. And in case the equilibrium, in case the supply is going to decrease, agar supply decrease hogi, so supply curve is going to shift leftward to S2, S2. Fine. This is decrease in supply and your new equilibrium will be at point E2, where again the equilibrium price is going to remain same, but your equilibrium quantity is going to decrease from OQ to OQ2. So this is the effect of your change in supply, that is increase or decrease in supply when demand is perfectly elastic. I hope whatever we have discussed today is clear to everyone. We are going to discuss more cases in other class. That's all for today from my side. Thank you so much.